And then Lipstick Gate happened, and I was gonna keep quiet about it for a while, but then
Wow.
yeah.
And then to go sell these like extremely expensive.
Wait, did you say the original says hi Netflix?
Oh yeah, that was my tweet. Filming today for a special documentary.
Jaclyn Hill's ex-best friend did a podcast to expose it all. Marlena Stell did a video. I have the receipts right here on my phone. I couldn't believe it. Now, there were talks that this was gonna happen for weeks, and it finally happened, and I have the receipt right here. So Marlena Stell, she went on a podcast called The Sesh, which is owned by Kendall Rae and her good friend of hers. And check this out. The title of the video is Marlena Stell exposes the beauty community betrayed by Jaclyn Hill and bullied by James Charles. And also in the title, in very small print, it says, please like this video, leave a comment. We love Rich Lux. Leave a heart emoji, leave a comment, share the video with your friend. Rich Lux can't get a view to save his life, must as subscriber. That's what it says in the title, bro. Okay, so I'm gonna be very critical of this video. You know, these women, they put out these videos so that people can watch them. I've never met a YouTuber who puts videos out and doesn't want no one to watch them or talk about it, okay? So, Kendall Rae, in my opinion, is an old school beauty guru. And you already know, Marlena Stell is also the beauty CEO of Makeup Geek, and I think she dissolved the company. She's doing all these other things now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had to close it recently.
Yeah, I announced last year was closing it just for like a ton of different reasons. It's a lot to get into, but the final thing was COVID, honestly, because we had rebrand, was like all new product that launched in January 2020. And then of course COVID hit right after that.
Yeah.
And we had a ton of people on wait list to get product, and just production shut down. And so it kind of like annihilated our cash flow, and we were able to hang in there for a little bit longer, and then just production lead times were still really slow, and sales weren't what they used to, which makes sense. I mean, people aren't going to wear makeup when they're not leaving their house.
Sure.
So,
well, Marlena Stell had a lot of issues with Jaclyn Hill, and Marlena has made hints and maybe posts on community tabs and stuff and Reddits and stuff like that about Jaclyn Hill. And, you know, Marlena's in her I don't give a F era right now. And she is basically saying how she feels about Jaclyn Hill.
Recently, you finally hit your breaking point after 7 years of silence, which we talked about earlier. It was really difficult to keep all of that in. I can't imagine what that was like.
Yeah.
But you finally came forward, and what made you want to do so on Reddit?
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I really pondered on it for a while, and I'd been sitting on it for, like you said, so many years, and I didn't want to. I was almost going to do a video on YouTube, but that's kind of like my sacred space now, and I swore to myself after I did like the Dear Influencer video, and that got so much traction, and a lot of people really appreciated that I was blunt and honest, and some people didn't. And I've come to a place in my life, especially after I had my daughter, where I want my certain spaces to be very like toxic free. So even bringing up some of this stuff, even though people look at it like, oh, you're talking about old news or you're talking about someone else. Like for me, it's still there's emotions attached to it. Like I'm not a robot. I, obviously cared about someone and this happened. So I chose Reddit because I was like, well, it's not my YouTube channel. And I was like, if I post on Twitter, it's going to be like 50 posts long.
Yeah, right. The character limit.
Except for not now. Now you can literally post an essay on there.
Oh, that's true.
If you have Twitter Blue.
I know. Maybe I should have done it on Twitter. I don't know. But I was already on Reddit. I enjoy it as just a human being. Like I love, I spend a lot of time on different forums, not just makeup related. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to post it here. It was kind of like an emotional release for me, because after I posted, it was like the biggest breath taken ever, because it's like I've been sitting on that for so long and just didn't want to speak it because I knew there'd be blowback of some sort, and I just didn't want to deal with it. And now I'm just like,
now there's one scene in this podcast that they kept saying, well, I don't know why Jaclyn Hill did this. I don't know why Jaclyn Hill did that.
Wow. So there wasn't this huge stipulation. It wasn't this big thing. It was like, we're going to do everything for you. Just do one lunch video, just talk about it. We'll sell the rest. Like, this is easy money. So I never thought someone would turn that down. And then on top of it, the friendship thing. So in my mind, it's a no-brainer. I'm like, okay, there's no way someone would turn this away.
That's why in my mind, I'm just trying to think, why? for so many reasons. Like, first of all, it's easy money. You work, it's just ethically bad. You're doing something with a friend. You're going to ruin a relationship with someone in the industry. People could find out about. I mean, there's so
Damage
many
to your
reasons.
friend's brand.
Yes, like endless reasons. Why would she take all that risk and do something so terrible? And I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking like I really think someone must have said something to her. Like, you do realize you're collaborating with another influencer.
Wouldn't she already know that? Like, duh.
Well, maybe she didn't
That's
really
what- but that's
see
what,
it
like,
that
you
way
do.
until someone said it to her.
She said, I don't understand why Jaclyn Hill just didn't do the palette with me. Now, for those of you who are not caught up on the drama, Marlena Stell was going to do a palette with Jaclyn Hill. And she bought 100,000 units, and they were going to make over $4 million. And it was going to be a big deal. But for whatever reason, Jaclyn Hill never signed a contract or went through with the negotiations.
Do you think, I mean, did she already have her brand in the works at this point?
At this point, she did. She was already, because she had told me even when we first met that she wanted to work on a line. I was like, oh, cool. Let me help you get you connected with some vendors, because I genuinely wanted to help her, because when I started my brand, I didn't have anyone to help me. I literally had to call a bunch of labs. Like, I remember my mom and I driving to Toronto. I was in Michigan at the time. We drove to Toronto because this lab would not see me. Went in person. I was like, I'm going to start a makeup brand. Like, please let me speak to someone. They kicked us out of the lab. Like, basically, like, it took a lot. It was a lot of work to like just find anyone that would actually believe me to start a brand. So I knew how hard it was to get a brand started from scratch, especially if you haven't done this before. This is a totally new world. So I was like, let me help her.
Now, I had said, I thought maybe because Jaclyn Hill, because she ended up going with Morphe, making her palettes with Morphe rather. I had said, well, I just think that, you know, maybe Jaclyn Hill was going to make more money with Morphe, and that's why. Well, then Marlena Stell on Twitter, she basically said to me, that's not the case, because she was going to make the same amount of money. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Great. Which still left Marlena Stell in this podcast and Kendall Rae like, oh, I don't know why Jaclyn Hill just didn't do the collab with me, right? Maybe Morphe.
And then Lipstick Gate happened, and I was gonna keep quiet about it for a while, but then it was when I saw her just get on camera and just blatantly lie about it and not even address it, and knowing people were putting what I knew was contaminated lipsticks on their lips and not even trying to prevent that. Like, that's when I became really vocal about Lipstick Gate, and I think some people got upset that I was vocal, but I don't care. Like, this is actual, like, I know what production's like. I worked with these labs. I knew what lab do this project. I had issues with that lab too. I told her about that in that text message. I had told her, don't work with this lab. I had issues with them. Like, she was warned and still moved on with them anyways.
Because it was like a cheaper option, probably.
They're less expensive, yeah.
Right. But it wasn't the money. Here's the thing. This is the only logical thing that I could think why Jaclyn Hill, after her friend, Marlena Stell, because they were friends, after her friend invested all this money in palettes so that Jaclyn Hill could do his palette collab, why Jaclyn Hill didn't follow through. And this is, I'm just playing devil's advocate right here. The only reason that would come to mind, because I thought it was money, but Marlena Stell told me no. I think Linda from Morphe was really shocked, and I have receipts, and if backed into a corner, I will show them.
Honestly, like, you've shown quite a bit of restraint in your public response. I can't even imagine what I would say.
Dude. Yes. Yeah, my response, I responded. I tried to keep it calm because I was not trying to add drama or fuel to the fire. I put, like, you know, if you'd like to contact me privately, please let me know. I said something like very kind in return. But I was livid from that, because that's making me look bad. I'm still with the crew actually filming at that moment.
How awkward.
Yeah.
Linda from Morphe was showering Jaclyn Hill with jewelry, Birkin bags, and gifts on top of her commissions and deals with Morphe. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I see what's going on here. You know, Marlena Stell loved her so much, but I don't think she was gonna buy Jaclyn Hill Birkin bags and all these gifts. And then to think about it is that Morphe had a lot of stores. Like, their reach was almost practically global. I don't even know, maybe international. Just well known in the States. We have to at least give it that. So I can't help but to feel that and Jaclyn Hill, as the time of making this video, she hasn't responded because that podcast just went up today. I can't help but to feel that Jaclyn Hill was like, well, I can do this collab with Marlena, which is a good, dear friend of mine. we do the palette, and then it'll sell well. I can sell it out, 100,000 each. I can sell it out, you know.
Yeah, but it's like I really wanted to see her succeed. She's my friend.
Yeah.
I want to like see her do well. I knew she would do well. She was crazy talented at makeup, and I knew that, you know, she would kill it. And I like, even me personally as a consumer and as a friend, I was excited to buy her products because I was like, you know, I want to support her too. I've been watching her videos, even though I know her. I want to see her do well.
Do that. We can do that. You know how it is. You sell a couple, and oh my God, we're sold out, and then around Christmas time, guys, dude, y'all guys wanted it so much, we brought it back. Meanwhile, it was there the whole time. That's one thing they could have done. At that time, it would have worked flawlessly. But I think that Jaclyn Hill really sat back and was thinking, like, if I do a collab with Morphe, I can have more of a reach than with Marlena. I can be more of a household name. And I think that's why ultimately she did it. It's because she was looking at the bigger picture here. And well, you know, Morphe is a bigger brand. It could open doors to other things. They got way more money. And I think that's why. And I've really sat back, guys, and I've really thought about it. It would have to be it. And I'm just being honest. If I had a small brand, mom and pop brand, independent brand come to me and say, hey, let's do a palette. And then I saw, I don't know, MAC Cosmetics, they're big, they're still around, even though no one really buys it. They're still around. Was like, hey, let's do a collaboration. We're gonna put you in all our stores, at every mall, all the storefronts, and our website gets all these hits. And it's like, it's just more exposure. So I think, and let's say the money was the same, I think that Jaclyn Hill did it that way. And I hope that you guys can pick up what I'm putting down, or can at least see it my way. And if you don't see it my way, maybe we can have a healthy discussion in the comments. But you know, everyone says this, and even Marlena acknowledged it in the podcast that she wished she would have had a contract.
I just laid out a bunch of stuff with her. And it was text message. It wasn't a phone call, and just laid out stuff. I said that I was hurt about the collaboration. I didn't agree with some of the stuff that was going on, the business decision she was making.
And how far after she bailed on the collab was this?
That was over 2 years later.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you still tried to keep a friendship with her to some degree after she
like I
burned
wasn't
you so
trying to
bad?
be friends with her, I think, at that point, but I was at least trying to be cordial. Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a shitty thing that happened, but she can't be a shitty person. Like in my mind, I still wasn't thinking like she was this shitty person. I was like, okay, this is a shitty thing that happened, and I'm still hurt by that.
Yeah.
But I'm in my mind, I'm still trying to like redeem her in my eyes. So it was before Lipstickgate had happened, and I just laid a bunch of stuff out there, and her response was, well, what do you want me to do about it, Marlena?
But you know, when they were good friends, he's like, well, we're friends. We don't need a contract. You know, it's that whole thing, you know? And I've been there, done that. That's how it is. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and it's okay. But, you know, in business, it's war. You know, no one ever tells you that. And I think that, you know, in business, it's not personal. It's just business, and people's feelings will get hurt, and people will lose money, and it's just a giant game. And I think Marlena felt the burn of that. Do I think that Marlena will crumble and shrivel up and die? No. I think that it was just a lesson learned. And I feel like she thought she was closer to Jaclyn Hill than Jaclyn Hill let on. I think Jaclyn Hill maybe consider her as a friend, an acquaintance, a business associate, and maybe Marlena consider her as a best friend. Now, in the podcast, Marlena Stell did praise Manny Wayne, said he was a pleasure to work with, and things of that nature, and I thought that was great. They also talked about Michaela Negrera, and Marlena Stell finally spoke out about Michaela and said how she really felt about the whole Mascara Gate scandal. Now, with all that to be said, they also touched upon James Charles. I'm not trying to take away from their podcast. I just want to give you a quick synopsis.
So coming out about this, you've also, you know, been vocal about other people that have hurt you in the industry, and you're kind of just like finally getting all of this out. And a lot of people did see this play out. But moving on to Janice.
Janice.
Can you explain kind of what happened? So you met Janice a long time ago.
Yes. I met him in 2016. My first event meeting him was, Makeup Geek had a lipstick event. It was to launch our lipsticks, and a bunch of influencers came, and I think Patrick had brought him, because at that time I didn't know who he was.
Patrick Starr.
Yeah, Patrick Starr. And I was standing there getting pictures of people and socializing and all that, and Patrick came up to me and said, hey, I want you to meet my friend. His name is James. He just he was on the Ellen show and this and that. And he was just talking about him. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I literally had no idea who he was. I hadn't seen his videos yet or anything.
Wait, did you say the original says hi Netflix?
Oh yeah, that was my tweet. Filming today for a special documentary that airs 2019 with Netflix. Okay. That's all I said, and I showed the cameraman in the car as we were filming.
Damn, so he went after you. He says,
this woman knows nothing about the industry other than blaming her bad business decisions and personal issues on influencers at Netflix. This is absurd. And I'd love to get in a room together and show you the non-bias outline I've already made on the subject that documents all sides. The non-bias outline.
Non-biased, yes.
This woman.
He's 19 at this point. That's what kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, did you have a lot of experience?
That is unbelievable.
Right.
You literally just showed us a picture with him when he was young and innocent, just getting into this industry. And then he knows exactly who you are. This woman. That is because he was extremely offensive.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you've shown quite a bit of restraint in your public response. I can't even imagine what I would say.
Dude. Yes. Yeah. My response, I responded. I try to keep it calm because I was not trying to add drama or fuel to the fire. I put like, if you'd like to contact me privately, please let me know. I said something like very kind in return. And but I was livid from that because that's making me look bad. I'm still with the crew actually filming at that moment.
How awkward.
Yeah.
The beginning of the podcast was really like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. I've looked up to you. You're an amazing asset to the beauty community. And then at the end of the podcast, he was like, you're welcome. You're a great mom. I love what you're doing and what you stand for. It was a lot of that, right? This was not the podcast where they were gonna grill Marlena and say, well, I didn't like when you did this, and how do you feel about that? And most importantly, how do you think that your actions affected the whole entire beauty community as a whole? And do you think this and that? Like, it wasn't like a very stern, strict interview. Like, we're gonna be like, well, these are some of your scandals too. And how do you feel about that? And this comment, it wasn't like that. It was a lot of like, I'm so happy you're here. I looked up to you for a long time. Let's talk about these 3 main issues you've had. And then they ended on a positive note. Right. I'm not saying that they should have done that to Marlena. I don't think that was the place or time. I just don't think it was that type of interview, to be honest. But that's just my opinion about the whole thing. But it doesn't matter what I think about it, of course. But let me know what you guys think about all that drama in the comment down below. It would really mean a lot to me if you leave a like, leave a comment, and share the video. And I wish Marlena Stell lots of luck in her new endeavors. And I also feel like Kendall Rae, someone of was. That was a really interesting interview. And let me know what you guys think about it too. And will you be watching further? I think that Kendall Rae and all these other influencers should do more controversial topics. I think it's really good. I mean, they say they don't like drama, but they talk about the drama. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, let me know what you think about all that drama in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, I love you so much.